great privilege of welcoming you to the city of San Leandro, Congresswoman Simon. You have worked with us diligently to bring resources to our cities. As you well know, we're one of the older cities. As that means we've got aged infrastructure, and I can tell you in the community that she is our advocate in DC, and for that, I am grateful. We're also a city of great diversity. As I mentioned on the 4th of July, we know that democracy is messy, and it's incumbent upon us to make democracy happen. And I can tell you that Congresswoman Simon in DC has kept that in mind. The importance of local communities driving democracy with the support of leaders in Washington, D.C. So for that, I'm also grateful. But these folks didn't come here to hear me. So with that, I give you the official welcome on behalf of the city.
Thank you so much, Mayor. So tonight, I have the very enviable task of being your moderator. So I'll be facilitating the conversation and trying my best to keep us on time. Wanted to shout out that when you arrived, our team asked you to fill out half sheets. That's super helpful for us. It helps us collect your questions ahead of time. I know we collected them during registration, and we did review all of the questions that everyone submitted. And then we love to also see what folks want to ask tonight in the room in order to answer the questions that we are getting the most of. Answering those half sheets is great because we will compile them and list them in the order that we're getting the most of, and then the team sends it to me to make sure that we are able to address those hot topic questions that everyone has right off the top. And then after that, we will open it up to live questions on the mic at the end. So we want to also hear from all of you in the room, because that's why we're here tonight. So with that, we will be trying to strike a balance tonight of hearing important updates and then also making time for questions and to hear from folks in the room. And so the best way to make sure that we are connected to you and that you can continue to hear from us is to fill out those half sheets. So really want to encourage everyone to do that. Also want to acknowledge Councilmember Bowen just arrived. Hello, welcome, Councilmember. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. And so with that, I'm so honored and excited to invite our glorious Congresswoman to give us a quick update on what she's been working on in Washington, D.C. So thank you, Congresswoman.
About glorious. Because I just got home a couple days ago, and I live in one of those multi-generational apartments, not even homes. I have a little bit about me. Some of you all know me, but some of you don't. So just to sort of level set a little bit, I have 2 children. One is 30, is a teen mom. She has an amazing husband and a baby. I have a 15-year-old. And as you know, many of you know I'm a widow. I lost my husband almost 12 years ago to cancer. My daughter decided after law school she would become a prosecutor, and then decided she'd stay in D.C. She decided to move back. I am not a homeowner, I am a renter. So there are a lot of people in my house. So it's really nice to be here. I haven't been around toddlers in a really long time. So give it up for all the educators, particularly the preschool and daycare. Yes. Every morning, to get that boy to school, because I know that there's magic happening there. And I'm being facetious, but I'm so honored. One, to be back at home for the month of August, working in community, and to be with my family, and that extension is you all. And one of the things I just want to say, an hour is not enough. So I do want to really encourage us to stay in contact. This is my 15th town hall since I was elected a year and a half ago, and I'm really excited to continue to do more. I was actually with Bill Hunt a few days ago, and she was like, only 15? I was like, well, I think that's more than anybody in the freshman class. She's like, I do one every other month. I was like, okay, we'll get there. You've been here 3 times. This is my first term. But it's an honor. So I'm actually, instead of doing a diatribe, which I've done at other town halls, I'm just going to give you a couple of things that I think are important for you all to know about what we're doing. And I have some notes here, but I did some analysis earlier today about, again, not just the work we're doing, about what folks from the district are expecting of us, what you all want of us, and what we've done. So we looked at the calls So we have an office here in the Bay Area, in Oakland. We should do some satellite office stuff here at the library too, by the way. So,
Yes.
Right? And we have an office inside of the Capitol. If you are ever in DC, come visit. My office is not fancy. In fact, there are stink bugs and little mice. I'm a freshman, so we get the teenier offices, and we are working literally from sun up to sundown to represent the beautiful people of California's 12. So in the last year and a half, y'all, this district, particularly San Leandro, y'all are very, very active, and y'all have been calling our office a lot. And we have, in Black Ink, I'm looking at these numbers here, 12,000 calls. 12,000 calls within the last 2 months. 835 of those calls have been about Iran. I'm hearing 575 just in the past 60 days have been about Gaza. 320 in the last 2 months protecting Medicaid and SNAP. I'm saying these numbers out loud, and I think it's really important to let you know that the only reason that I'm in Congress is to serve the good people of the 7 cities of the 12. That's it, that's all. So those 12,000 calls, we are not only documenting them, we're answering the phone. If we didn't answer your call, call back in 5 minutes, because Sky at the front desk, she probably went to the restroom. Or Ryan decided that he wanted to take a lunch. We're here to serve. I've hired people like Eden, who spent 15 years at Glide Memorial Church, working with folks on the streets. We've hired people who love our folks. So with that, I just want to go through a couple of stats that I think are important to hold, because I'm really just here to hear you. We were asked by this community to, in this trifecta, to legislate. So it's what we're doing. We have, and we're not playing around, I'm not putting out messaging bills to put out messaging bills. I actually, in my time in Congress, want to see the material conditions of folks in this district change. So we have led, meaning authored, and co-led, co-sponsored 22 total bills, in terms of, again, my name, your name, meaning this district, on the top of those bills, including bills around small business and transportation justice and resource disability justice, and of course, we were immediately, as soon as I came into office, became a co-sponsor on a lot of the bonds, and I think that's really important to a lot of folks in San Leandro, so thank you for those calls and those pushes. I am a competitive person, so as a freshman, I'm in the top 3 of passing the most bills across the floor. Is that we don't chase cameras, which we haven't. We've been chasing legislation that works. So I've passed 5 bills through a Republican House. And again, those bills have been focused on incentivizing small businesses and the SBA to incentivize small businesses to hire disabled people. We passed bills to support small businesses related to cybersecurity threats. I have a bill still in the hopper that's in committee about ensuring that our young people get vision and hearing screenings at school. I'm visually impaired, so I know that those screenings were extremely important for me. And as the Trump administration continues to claw back everything that we fought for, we need to be legislating and not just talking. For a full list of our bills, you can go to our site. If you're visually impaired and that's very difficult, we'll make sure that we get you the information. You can come up to any of our staff, or you can talk to me after to learn more about our legislative work. I'm really proud of how you all have pushed us to stand up, clearly 10 toes down, for migrants and immigrants and folks who are in the immigration process. On this soil, anyone, and this is not my opinion, this is what the Constitution guarantees. They are guaranteed due process. We have voted the conscience of the district by every single opportunity we've been able to get, from, again, voting down horrible resources for this unjust war, for all of ICE funding, for NDAA, which is surveillance, which we feel like in this particular administration, the extra surveillance on Americans, it's a violation of your constitutional rights. We've also been very focused on the housing crisis. And I, just a couple of days ago, put a bill in the hopper that matches Senator Schiff's bill that incorporates so much of what you all have been saying. And San Leandro, if you are a child care provider, if you are an LPN, if you are a school teacher, there's almost no way that you'll ever be able to buy a home. I'm a renter. If I stay in government, I don't come from money. I'll never be able to buy a home. Folks in this room, many of us can't afford rent, and rent is in 3 days. So we are really focused on the needs of this district, what people care about, and I want you to know that I'm hearing it and we're moving on it. What I'm most excited about is the demand from the district, and thank you, Mayor, because this guy is tough, and he's been pretty tough on me, and I love it. You've been very clear, I don't care if you're in a trifecta, meaning Republicans have the House, they have the Senate, they have the presidency, and the Supreme Court, some would say. You've been very clear that my job is to bring home resources. And 30 years running organizations and moving resources to people who need them, I'm very excited about that work every single day. Again, my competitive nature makes me really happy about the fact that we've been clawing back resources that the Trump administration has tried to freeze. We have more work to do there, but the report is important. To date, since I've come into office, we have brought back $833 million to California's 12th district in federal grants. This is your money. It is your money, including $11 million of community project funding. And some of that funding actually is directly related to the work that's going on here in terms of your environmental justice plans for San Leandro. And so it was so beautiful to walk around the shoreline with you, Mayor. Thank you so much. The project that we are helping to fund here at San Leandro, it is the San Leandro Shoreline Development Project. You guys have the best shoreline in the Bay Area. I should say that we have the best shoreline in the Bay Area, and it deserves more resources. So just know that I am committed to every single year that I am in Congress, Mayor and Councilwoman, San Leandro will be on our demands in the appropriation process. We will never leave San Leandro behind. Our people are here. This community is so vibrant, so important, and so clear, and needs to be in the center of our conversations about what the Bay Area deserves. So I want to thank you all for that. Our district, again, the to my heart. I think they thought, yeah, you did, I did too, thought it was going to be a little bit more fancy when we came in. Not at all. Like, we are on the phones, we are out in communities, and we, believe that the constituency services component of our work is the most important. Yes, we're going to be legislating, but you can call our office and get services from anything from immigration, any federal agency. You haven't gotten your veterans benefits, right? Oh, you gotta let that baby cry. You are totally fine here. I'm a mom and now a grandma. And if we don't have children in our spaces,
right,
they're not the right spaces
that's
to be
right.
in. And so one of the things that I need to make a commitment to you, because I've seen you, what's your name?
I'm her.
Yeah, both of you.
I'm Spade.
Okay, Spade, let me tell you something. Thank you for reminding me that we need to have childcare, just so mom can have a break, right? So and have some food and snacks and crayons. I'm so happy your baby is here. The district team, and you saw their hands raised, they've solved over 1,000 cases. So we're getting all these calls. Most of those calls are telling us to vote a certain way. But thousands of that 12,000 are folks who really need help. We've returned, and I want you to hear this just in terms of knowing what we provide, not just a strong voice in DC. We've returned over $10.1 million to real residents in our district from Social Security and the Treasury. And so what that means, you haven't got your IRS payment. Uncle is struggling with his veterans benefits and no one's answering his calls because the Trump administration has doged some of the most important people in our infrastructure to serve our folks. Please have us intervene for you. And so before we leave, we'll make sure you have all that information. I'm going to stop here because I just really want to hear from folks. Let's go.
Thank you, Congresswoman. Thank you for joining us, Vice Mayor, as well as representatives from Assemblyman Ortega's office and Supervisor Tam's office. So thank you so much for joining us this evening. As I said earlier, it takes a village, and I love for folks to see, that your electeds are all working together. We're all here to care for all of you. And so I've been getting questions from the half sheets in the front, and we're trying a few different, we've done 15 of these town halls, and we're always trying to get better, we're always trying to get a little tighter. So I'm gonna experiment and try asking 3 questions in a row, so that we can get as many of those questions answered as we can, and then turn over the mic to the audience. So let's see how this goes. Well, one of the top questions that we're hearing a lot are folks who are reacting to the story of the woman from Oakland who was detained by ICE in Denver. There was also a man from Berkeley. And so can you speak to this terrible terror campaign that's being put on by ICE and the Department of Homeland Security? Then we also have a question about what impact do local demonstrations and protests have on political conversations and momentum building in DC? Do they move the needle, even if they occur in liberal, Democrat-leaning districts? And then we got a question, what motivated you to go into public service, especially as a Black woman? What surprised you, and what advice would you give to others interested in getting involved?
The sister who's detained at the airport, I'm so pleased that she has representation. What I will say, I know Centro Legal is here as well, aren't they?
Yep.
They're right next door.
Yep.
They're right next door. It's an amazing organization that I've worked with very closely over the years. They do legal supports for folks who are in the immigration process, but also housing to, you name it. They provide free legal services. The sister has support. What I really want to stress, and what I have been reluctant to say, because public service is always going to be last path forward. Community members and community organizations have come out literally in the last couple of days and have told their clients all over the country. You'll see some of these press releases and articles. If you are struggling with your immigration status, don't fly. I am clear that we need to be honest with how bad things are. And we can fight and we can fight and we can fight. We'll talk about that a little bit more. But ICE is in a majority of the airports in this country. And I'll end there. It's sick. It's horrible what is happening. Why I say it's sick, all countries have immigration laws. I understand. And immigration laws are important. What's wrong is when you weaponize folks who are struggling the most, deny their due process, fire judges from the immigrant courts, and put folks in detention center with no trial, with no legal representation. And so this is what we're going to continue to fight. So we'll talk about this immigration war, which is what it is all night, and we're going to continue hearing us talk about it. I'm very curious of what you all think our office should be doing in this space. We're signing on and authoring bills that are trying to confront this stuff. We just know that we have a president who's anti-immigrant, and he's seditious. The question about what made me get into public service, I think the best thing that one could possibly do is to love thy neighbor. And I was 16 and a half years old when I started at a small organization called the Street Survival Project in San Francisco. I was in and out of school myself, struggling, and I became a teen mom. Found an organization that decided to pay young women who were in trouble in the foster care system or in the juvenile justice system, struggling in and out of school, pay us double the minimum wage to organize on the streets. And it was really around what was happening with the drug war. I was working in the Tenderloin in West Oakland. I was on the streets and I was door knocking. I did that work literally for 11 years. And it changed my understanding of what is needed and what is deserved. Meaning that however much you're struggling, you deserve community. And you deserve folks to see the best in you, not the worst moment of your life. I began that work and ended up going to work for an institution that I never thought that I would work in, the DA's office in San Francisco. I was able to create a program that was very focused on ensuring that young men, mostly young Black men and brown men, who were arrested for drug sales, we would get them out, literally walking them out of jail and creating opportunities for them to work and to go to school. And that part was the accountability. I led the Back on Track program for Congresswoman Harris for 6 years. It again changed my life. My daughter's a prosecutor now. And I'm very much on the side of, I want to live in a world where folks don't have to go to prison or jail. The only way you get there is through making sure that folks don't cross social contracts. So I've been trying to do that work my whole life. Third question was about
What impact do local demonstrations?
everything. The little ladies that stand in front of Grand Lake on Saturdays, like I'm sure there's one in here. I believe that movements, and we believe, must be durable. Durable. The point of having an experimental democracy is so that we, including myself, I don't mind a good protest. I will never forget shutting down Gavin Newsom's office for the first time and demanding that he come out, 19 years old, come outside and talk to the young people who are on foster care, who were getting general assistance, who are no longer getting those resources because he created a program that we didn't believe in. And it created a relationship with me and the governor. We, again, had a lot of spats over the years. But I deeply believe that government should and can be a social safety net for folks who are struggling the most. Super important. The only way that stays is if there is a strong movement holding officials accountable. So it is amazing for me to go up in committee and say, in San Francisco, in Oakland, in Berkeley, in San Leandro, there were thousands of elders out with walkers and wheelchairs. The disabled community is 10 toes down in the Bay Area. We're the founders of the disabled community, by the way, in this district. Disabled, I would say, justice community. It does make a difference. If we were quiet, even in blue states, that would signal submission, and we ain't submitting to none of this stuff happening. All constituents are saying X, and it doesn't always have to be a march. It's all of the stories that you're sending to my office. It's all of the opportunities where we're sitting at kitchen tables talking about why are there still 1,000+ veterans in our district sleeping on the streets? Why did the Trump administration take away our opportunity to have a clinic/hospital in Alameda for our veterans? Every single opportunity that we get to raise our voice, we then use that ammunition to fight harder. It absolutely matters. Thank you, Congresswoman.
Combine several questions. We have people who are concerned about continuum of care. People are worried about housing, about their medical care. So what federal actions are you taking to help build true continuum of care and expand services to prevent people from falling through the cracks?
Well, the first thing that we're doing, and I love that question, is voting hell no every single time something comes to the floor that establishes bombs being more important than full bellies. And I'm going to do that every single time. We have, just in a year and a half, seen the largest attack on healthcare in this country. In the next 10 years, because of the big ugly bill, 10 million people will lose their health care. And I buried my husband. We were in financial ruins after I buried him. We had $1 million of medical debt, and I had insurance. And we had jobs, and yet my 2 kids and I, we were gutted. The center of my portfolio is demanding access to care. Not just good care, but care that is durable, that also pays the caregivers what they're deserving. And I'm not just talking about doctors. I'm talking about nurses, and folks who are in senior centers, and also our caregivers who are family members who are right now being attacked by the Trump administration. We know, actually I'll tell you this, we will flip the House. We will flip the House, and we will flip the House. That totally deserves an applause. Again, as we're talking about healthcare infrastructure, we're talking about the cost of living. If you have 3 kids, you are spending at least $30 a meal plus with grocery store prices. Plus, ground beef is crazy. Don't ask me how I know. So what we're doing federally, again, I do think that the Democrats, I'm a new member, but they've woken up. And my office, again, I'm collaborating with other offices within the Dome, and we're putting forth bills that may not pass until we win back the House. But when we win, we're still doing the work. When we win in January, one of the things I can guarantee you, our firepower, and that's not war, that'll be firepower of love. We're going to have to do a lot of work with a lot of veracity, and we're ready to do it. And I feel that in my bones. My family relies on so many of these systems. And my daughter, because of the death of her father, she gets Social Security. We wouldn't be able to make it without. And I think that everything that folks are feeling in this room, every single thing that you're feeling in this room, we will legislate. We will continue to legislate, but we'll also continue to fight. I mean, I'm on the oversight committee. I'm now the top Democrat on a new task force. And I would love to hear, I don't have the gavel yet, but I'm a top Democrat. Again, the chairperson for that task force on constitutional rights is a Republican. But when we flip that House, we're holding those gavels. Dan, we have to make lives better for everyone. It is. I'm worried about it. I talked about in my first couple town hall meetings about our democracy, being in hospice or ICU. But what, to me, is the most important thing in this moment is that my auntie can afford her insulin and her rent at the same time. It's important for young people who are thinking about what they're going to do to know that there's an actual future for them. It's important to me that none of your tax dollars are going towards concentration camps. And that's exactly what they are. So we're going to keep doing everything possible. If you do have social media, please follow us, because what we're doing, we're not doing cute little clips. I'm not running to CNN every day. I'm not. What I've decided to do is ensure that our communication strategy is about letting you know what I'm voting on, what I'm writing, how I'm fighting in committee, and I'm taking all of that very seriously. I'm not doing any dance skits, because there's 8,000 people who are homeless in this district. And you deserve a legislator that is damn serious about the future of our people, and that's what we're trying to do.
Maybe one more slate of 3, and then we'll turn it over to the audience.
Hey, young people, hi guys.
Thanks for joining us. Thank you to our ESL interpreters. Thank you so much for being with us.
Oh, wait, I'm about to be the black woman. Okay. I walk around with this stick, right? And I also walk around with these glasses. You should have seen me at like 8. They were like from here to here. Remember those? So I learned how to fight really early. Physically, mentally, spiritually. I'm expecting that most rooms that I walk in, folks don't want me to be there, and that's okay. I know and I understand what the assignment is, and how beautiful is it to be the 75th Black woman ever elected to the United States Congress out of 11,000 members. So the expectations that folks have, we will exceed those for the people of California as well every single day in our office. So I love being able to represent not just my lineage, but the lineage of 150 languages spoken in this district. Black women have always carried that weight.
Thank you, Congresswoman. All right, I'm going to try to do another quick slate. So, how do we get HHS to care about science? Measles cases are rising, food isn't being tested, and so how do we get them to care and fund science? We need stable transit funding in the Bay Area. What do you think about that? And what are you doing for reliable and safe transit? And then I'm worried about voting rights, what's happening in other states, and what can we do to fight back?
I just read this story from our office. There's a woman in San Leandro who is disabled, and she got kicked off of her paratransit plan. I just read the story. And I need to thank our staff, because it was like one call, and you guys got her back linked up. Again, paratransit is not a federal agency. If you call our office and you tell us some craziness, we have all paid out of our pockets for paratransit to ensure that disabled people get to move to and fro. You have paid over the years for Bay Area Rapid Transit and AC Transit to make sure that we have cleaner air and our babies can get to school on time. I was on the BART board of directors, and I saw literally overnight, when the Bay Area was shut down during COVID, we lost almost 70% in a minute of our operating budget. BART has a very strange revenue structure that was started with the BART Act. Unlike, MTC or MTA in New York, where the state actually supports this idea fully, that if we have public transportation that is low cost and somewhat as safe as it can be, we actually have a better civil society. Well, the people in the Bay Area, when they created the BART Act, didn't think that. They said, you know what, we're gonna make this system, it's really gonna be on the rider to keep it alive. The world changed overnight. So literally since that day, I've been making tons of calls and lobbying. I will never forget, after 50 calls to Nancy Pelosi's office, a lot of crying and praying, she said, Lateefah, we're gonna get those $3 billion home. And so I'm very proud of that work. COVID taught me that if you wrangle enough, you work with the appropriations committee, you create enough static that we can get resources back to our folks. BART would have been stopped week 2. We didn't have the resources. But we did bring $3 billion back to get us through these 5 years. Those resources end this year. And so the regional measure, again, this is supposed to be an official town hall, so I don't want to talk too much about politics, but there are opportunities for folks on the ballot to save public transportation, not just BART, the 27 agencies that make up this ecosystem of public transportation. So I went really hard on the public transportation conversation, but that's where my heart is.
Funding for science.
Do you know that these schools have defunded almost 1,000 clinical trials? Yes. So you know what that means? You see that beautiful baby that was right here? I met a beautiful little girl. Her name is Leela. My daughter's name is Layla. She came in my office. She's 9 years old. She's visually impaired like me. She was wearing a cane, with cute little Nikes, with wonderful parents. She had neuroblastoma and had 2 stem cell transplants. My husband was in a clinical trial, and it gave him 2 more years of life. When these fools cut off research, do you know what happens with a child with a port who's on an experimental medication?
Oh my God.
They get sent home to die.
Right.
They take the port out. There's no chance, oftentimes, with some of these clinical trials. The Trump administration defunded the CRISPR lab over at Cal. You'll know what that lab is, if you don't, I'll tell you. They will absolutely create curative opportunities for ALS, for sickle cell anemia. There are amazing innovators that have their federal grants slashed in our district. What I am so proud of, because I'm sure there's a couple of researchers in the room who called my office demanding that we claw some of that money back. We got the $40 million back from the CRISPR lab. To be about progress. So I spent a lot of time not just answering that call to understand science, to understand innovation. So I've been spending a lot of time with founders, not like the techie founders, like the folks at Exelexis, right over in Alameda. They are very close to, again, curative opportunities for liver cancer. You ever dealt with someone who's extremely sick and they're waiting on a clinical trial? It's the whole family, it's generations involved. So everything that we can do, not just in this district, but nationally, to remove this crazy barrier on supporting innovation, we'll do. But I will tell you, I'll be honest, we're not gonna make these fools understand what's important. They've never had to deal with some things that you have dealt with. The only way we are going to ensure that measles and polio isn't common is to vote these bastards out of office. The Secretary of Health and Human Services, can you imagine saying publicly that you snorted coke on a toilet seat and that you don't believe in vaccinations? And I know that there's folks who have different opinions about vaccinations, but here's the deal. Here's the deal. The least amount of people dying is the goal. The least amount of suffering is the goal. Well, I will tell you, being up in that dome, that there are folks on the other side of the aisle that honestly don't care about us. That's not hyperbole, that's fact. Because if they did, talking about Health and Human Services, you wouldn't take, right now, how much do SNAP beneficiaries get every day for their food?
Not enough.
$6. The big ugly bill, and we've got to get to y'all. The big ugly bill reduced it to $4. You don't care about people and write that on paper. You just don't do it. You don't take away health care from millions of people. You don't de-incentivize physicians to talk to their patients about ways that they can prevent disease. So we're going to have to, in the midst, we have a year and a half, well, I wish it was a year and a half, we have 2.5 more years of this administration. One of the things that I would encourage, and I know that our local electeds are doing so much of this, we have to take care of each other. We have to take care of each other. We have to educate each other. We have to have forums and spaces and places like this where we're sharing information and know that we're not powerless. Those guys are not gods. No electeds are gods. Our community is beloved because we make it beloved.
That's right.
Let's get to the audience.
All right. Microphone. If folks can raise their hands, we're gonna get to as many faces as we can across. We're gonna try to spread the love across the room. So Sky. Tell me your name.
My name is Greg Ward.
Hi, Greg.
Hi, thank you for holding this panel. This year you introduced bipartisan legislation to protect entrepreneurs through the Small Business Cybersecurity Systems Evaluation Act. This law, if enacted, will offer crucial protection to small businesses against cyber attacks. Such attacks are greatly facilitated by frontier AI models. Just last week, a prototype model at OpenAI broke out of confinement and launched a successful attack against Hugging Face, another AI startup. It did this to cheat on a sandbox test, something it was not asked to do and should not have been able to do. Imagine if a bad actor got a hold of this AI. What else might it be capable of? This is the future we all face if we let the tech bros decide things for us. AI is affecting everyone, and the long-term outcome is unknown. The very notion of long-term is fading. We cannot afford to stand by and watch. We are counting on tech-savvy members of Congress, such as yourself, to work towards a global pause on advanced AI development. We need this for the safety of our governments, our finances, and our families. Once we have a pause, we can think more carefully about what AI is best suited to, where it encroaches on human creativity, and where its reach should be strictly limited. I hope you will continue to expand your leadership in this area.
I appreciate that. I'm going to say, first of all, one of the most important comments of any town hall that I've had. There is existential opportunity and existential threats to the world based on what's happening right now with artificial intelligence. It is not new, however, it is growing faster. And sir, thank you so much. I hope everyone heard your question. I'll end with this. There's more regulation for the taco truck 3 blocks away. I'm not legit.
True.
Of what they can sell, how clean it needs to be, than what these models can do. And we are going deep in our office to understand, to be a real leader in the Congress. Be a very sufficient leader in the Congress to understand, again, the deep opportunities and the deep threats. AI, you're absolutely right, cannot and they will not regulate themselves. Because here's where it gets really complicated. What you have on your phone, and my mom just loves it. I'm like, stop, you don't need to keep making fake pictures of all your grandkids. Just like, use what you have. They're crazy. I should send them out to some of you guys. They're insane. She loves it. That's the consumer model. It sounds like you know more about this than I do. These consumer models that we have. What I'm most worried about is AGI, right? And that's a technology that will span out of artificial intelligence to do things that we can't even imagine. And I'm most worried about war. I'm most worried about jobs. And so you can't just worry about it. We have to legislate. And I am very, very, very cautious about how the Trump administration wants to do this thing. I have spent a lot of time at your direction with other members of the caucus, like Sam Liccardo, who's a wonderful friend. He's the Silicon Valley guy. But, you know, we've met with OpenAI. We've met with Anthropic. We've met with the tiny guys. They're all saying the same thing. We have no idea what the future looks like. And so one of the things I would ask you to do, if I can't get to you after one of my staff will, I want to continue talking to you, to listen to your ideas. If you have things that you want our office to read and think about, absolutely. But Temru just released a new bill, a kill switch bill. We're looking at that bill right now. Every bill that I sign on to, I want you all to know, spend a lot of time thinking about the pros and the cons and the trade-offs. But I guarantee you, it's of top of mind what this technology will do, can do. And we don't know all of those things yet, but I'm on it. Can't wait to talk to you more. Thank you.
Some folks upstairs too, I realize we've got some folks. Here we are. Hey, thank you, Scott. Getting your steps in.
Hi, Congresswoman. My name is Patrick Kelly. Basically, my question is, and give you a little insight. Recently, the Trump administration admitted they canceled hundreds of billions of dollars in grants to blue states simply because they were represented by Democrats and they voted for Kamala Harris, which, among a lot of other things, shows me that Trump is unfit for office. My question is, why hasn't his cabinet invoked the 25th Amendment? And there was also talk about forming a presidential committee on presidential fitness.
Yes.
Could you update us on that?
Yes. So, two things. I want you all to know that I have signed 2 impeachment bills. Well, because he's unfit. I mean, I grew up under Reagan, and my mom talked about how horrible he was every single day. This is different. Yeah. So the problem is, and we all know this, especially the young people in here, is, first of all, I don't remember what I learned in U.S. government in the 10th grade. I wish I would have listened more. It's all about numbers in Congress. We don't have the numbers. We don't have the numbers to move forward in an impeachment process. We don't have the numbers. But we will win the House in November. Amen. And when we get that ballot, you can guarantee that we're going to not just try to legislate harder. Again, I'm talking to leadership myself. Tons about this. What's going to be different? Because things weren't great under a Biden administration for poor people and for sick people. They weren't great. There were still 8,000 people sleeping on our streets in our district. There's still young people who weren't able to pay off their student loans. There were I can go on and on and on. There were still teachers who are getting paid over $30,000 to teach 40 kids in a classroom, and I understand that's a county issue, but it's a cultural issue. If you have national leaders who want to do the right thing, it trickles down. I'm very excited to do all we can. Again, while the trifecta is happening, but also when we get that gavel. I don't know how America continues. We don't have 2.5 more years yet with this cabinet. The question was, why won't the cabinet do anything? I talked to Republicans on the other side of the aisle who I know want to vote a particular way on a bill. If you watch C-SPAN, you'll see sometimes with bills that are open for a really, really long time, why is this bill open? Why don't they just call it and the gavel go down? Well, because there are some Republicans who are voting their conscience, but then you'll end up seeing them walk down and they walk into the speaker's room because they get on the phone with the president. You have a president who is a thug and a bully, and folks are afraid of their safety. They are afraid of their safety. One thing that I agree with Marjorie Taylor Greene is this man is dangerous. Very dangerous, even to the folks that he's around. If you look back at the old papers when Congress really first enacted, they would hit each other with canes outside of the Emancipation Hall. Well, this guy is extremely dangerous. So you're not having a lot of folks, even in the Republican Party, who disagree with him. They're not doing that publicly. Why we need to take control. And again, when the House is in session on January 3rd, I can't wait to come back that first week and talk about all that we plan to do.
Student loan issue. So my question is, because we can't get rid of DT before the problem, we can't fix the problem before we get rid of DT. My question is, can you look into creating a statute of limitations on those debts that DOJ dug up that are not even legitimate? I know I don't owe the government any money except IRS. And I don't know if I'm the only one in the room that's looking at these little debts that they're digging up. But I know that all that money is going in DT's pocket. And that, so what, I would pay the $1,200 if I legitimately owed it. But I know that it's gonna go into DT's pocket along with the other billions of dollars that he's gotten from us. That's number one. So the statute of limitations on these debts are over 30, 40, 50 years old that people are looking at. And secondly, simply, do you think it would work to try to get Congress to make national apology on behalf of our city and others for the cities that were sundown towns?
Mayor, let's work on that together. Honestly, it's San Leandro, let's work on that. I think the powerful root of the current reparations is repair. And acknowledging, if I have an illness and I don't acknowledge it, and I just keep moving forward, I'm gonna get sicker and I'm gonna die prematurely. I think it's extremely important. I would love to talk to you more about that. Again, there's so much to repair. But where's Helser? Okay.
I'm right here.
Helser, we can't promise anything, but I have the best chief of constituency services in the United States Congress. And he is committed to, now I want to hear about the fact that we've got that $1,200 zero. We can't make any promises, but we're going to work with you. Anyone in this room, and that's what we do. It's so important that the government works for you. You are paying for my staff salary, and so we do work for you. And we would love to work with you, ma'am, doctor, to help to resolve this issue and learn more about what's going on. But I will tell you, the DOJ crime, the crime of the century.
Right.
I mean, everyone from the counselors on the veteran suicide hotline, folks who are fired, small business administration, folks fired, I mean, folks who are literally on the front lines of making sure that government works. The Office of Civil Rights under the Department of Education that ensures that if you are raped on a college campus, if your town doesn't investigate it, they will. It's that they've been doged. They've been doged. So we know, again, we can't wait until Donald Trump gets out of office on many of these things. I'm really excited that part of the work to save our democracy is happening outside the ladies by Lake Merritt, but also, there are large organizations that have come together to create a litigation strategy. There's over 300 active cases suing the Trump administration. They have seldomly won any of those cases. We keep winning in court. When I say we, the good people of the United States of America, every single unconstitutional act, whether it's Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights, the ACLU, the state of California is killing it. Our Attorney General is, he is actually the leader of to figure out how, again, to take our dignity back. They are suing. There's an organization called Democracy Forward. They have created a master list of all the litigation, and it is, sometimes I go on it and I see people literally typing into the Google Doc in real time. We are suing the hell out of this administration. We want to keep ensuring that our legislators are doing what they need to do and fighting back, but every tool that we have to use. But I want to make sure the next time I see you that you don't owe $1,200 to anybody. We can't promise anything, but I certainly want to help you work on this, and I'm sorry that happened to you. Thank you for coming. Thank you. Trying to spread it out throughout the room.
Thank you so much. Hi, I'm Josh Dole. Congressman, thank you so much for the fight that you continue to take to this horrible administration. Really appreciate it.
Yes.
I'm a constituent with Citizens Climate Lobby, and 4 of our chapter members were actually in your DC office today talking with your staff about
They had
climate
top
change.
ramen, I'm sorry, like, I'm glad they were there.
Yeah. But here in the East Bay, we are getting crushed by energy bills, and we are still fighting a coal terminal at the port in Oakland. Now, building clean energy faster helps with both of those issues. And when you ran, you committed to streamlining transmission permitting so we can actually get clean energy built, which I really appreciate. The Senate is close to a bipartisan deal right now on permitting reform. What would that package need to include for you to champion it? And how can we help you get it there?
I love the question, and honestly, seriously, when we're done, I just want to sit down, I want to connect with you, and hopefully we can have this conversation this week or next, because one of the things that I really love to do is I did commit, and that's a commitment that I have. But I would love to hear your ideas. We have developed some amazing advisors to our office, everything again, from AI to food security to research. It's the only way that you can get stuff done. Ideology doesn't work when you're trying to move something. You can have your beliefs, but the actual pragmatism of moving it forward. I would love to talk to you and hear your ideas, and thank you so much for the question. I do want to talk about coal for a second. Can you just say no coal in Oakland?
Yeah.
The only way, I was just enlisted, and I'd never been there, and just to study and to talk to their elected members of parliament about how they're dealing with renewable energy in their data centers. It's different, they're right on the coast, and it's different, but I think it's important to look at other models of what folks are doing. Dealing with the devil, working really well with the environment. We're not there yet. Now, the coal in Oakland ridiculousness, again, just, was it today or yesterday? We just came together with other members, because we're doing as much as we can to let folks know what's happening, whether it's the cancellation of the VA Center in Alameda County, but the coal in Oakland, that was a no-bid contract to one man. We have said plainly and clearly that we don't want it, so we're trying to get that money. Talk about freezing grants. We're trying to freeze that money right now. And it has it's put a huge target on our back, and that's okay. The point of doing the work is to listen to folks. I want to learn. I have a learning curve around the renewable energy world, as I did around language models when I first came in. I'm super nerding out on language models. I would love to, again, get more advice and counsel from you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So we are reaching 7 o'clock, and I'm so sorry, we do have a strict time. We got to get out of here, so we're going to do one more question. We're going to try to spread it. Oh, right here, this. Oh, she raised her arm with conviction. Right here in the middle. Right here. Take a step. And those be our last question.
Hi, Congresswoman Simon. And my phone died, and my question was
Does anybody have a charger? Daily drama. You can't leave here without a charger. Somebody has a charger. This is why we're going to plug it up. Help the sister out.
Thank you so much. This is an honor. Just my voice is not.
Hold the Can you register to the market?
Yes. My name is Shaquila, or Queen, I go by. I am a founder of Twin Sisters, Militant Supportive Development Corporation. We do mental health. So my question to you was the fluctuation in the mental health and the homeless sweep that we were supposed to do a couple months ago, that they didn't know where the people after the closing of the encampments were going to go. What are we going to do about that now once they don't have anywhere to go? And what are the projections for this for the next couple of years?
My dad died in a hotel in the Tenderloin, and his addiction created a condition where he didn't want to come live with my sister and I. And when I hear your question, I see and hear such great wisdom from you. I'm curious that figured this thing out. It's how I actually got into the work, working with our folks in our community who are unhoused. I think what I want to do is bring more resources, but I know that ain't gonna do it either. That if you go to our county mental health hospital, raise your hand if you've been there.
I work there.
So
I work there.
you know that there are mattresses on the floor with people in their own feces, not because the caregivers aren't amazing. It's because what we prioritize.
Right.
So we will continue swinging from the chandeliers, yelling both at the county and the state and the federal level about what we're deserving of. I would love, when I leave Congress, for there to be 3 times as many mental health services as there are right now. The crisis is so real. There's 2 things. If in fact, and these, again, I don't have the answers. All I know is every single opportunity I have to fight for a policy and or a resource, I will do it. I ran the Young Men's Freedom Center for 13 years. I kept thousands of girls out of jail, housed tons of folks, created 3 portfolios of pretty significant housing policy at Barrier Rapid Transit. And there's still thousands of people that are sleeping on the streets. If you decided today that you wanted to get clean, folks who've never suffered or have people in their family with addiction who are elected would say, you should just go into rehab.
Right.
Try it.
Right.
Try it. Not even talking about the process. We don't go 2 minutes over on this. We don't have treatment on demand in the Bay Area. We don't. You try, and I've worked with so many homeless young people, not to mention our seniors who are the majority of our homeless population in our district, majority senior, majority Black. They were once housed here. The reason why I ran for Congress, and I listed all of those things. Yes, I'm disabled, I'm legally blind. I've dealt with folks in my family and a community with mental health issues. I've been homeless. I went to grad school, have so much student debt, I'm gonna have it till I die.
Right.
So that I can talk about it at my funeral. Because I live and understand what barriers really look like. Your question, and I just want to answer it. What are we going to do? Now, progressives, which I am one, yelled at me because I talked about when I was running, using empty buildings to house our folks. Well, it used to be a prison. You've always had a key.
Right.
You've always had a key. If that's your response. So I have had an amazing, amazing year of working and talking to our mayors and members of our board of supervisors about literally what the North Star looks like. Because it's not just about what we hate. I do not like our president. I do not like members of Congress on the other side of the aisle who demean people that we love and we care about.
Right.
And I don't want to spend a ton of time talking about that forever, because that's all I'm talking about is this man. I love your question because it fuels me to go back to work tomorrow and think about what is the North Star that everyone in this district and in this country is housed in the wealthiest nation in the world, that no one goes hungry, that if you need a doctor, you can go see one. And that doctor doesn't have $400,000 of medical debt. That's not socialism. That is the floor of being human. Hey, if you relapse in 5 days, every faith says we should take you back in.
That's right.
But our society doesn't. I am with you, sister, and I can't wait to learn more from you and work with you. The North Star, it's possible. And I'll end with this. We've been here before. And it feels like a crisis, because it is. Because our folks are being taken out of their homes. They're being put in concentration camps.
Abolish ICE.
We've been here before. We have seen wars that have been ridiculous. Now we're seeing it with our phones. We're seeing what happens when we're not prioritizing diplomacy. We're seeing what happens when you scapegoat folks. We saw it during World War II, where 87% of the folks who were interned were Japanese, were American citizens. This is a reoccurrence of fascist beliefs and othering all of us live under a democracy that cared about us. And so one of the things I would ask of you all, continue to push us and demand that my learning curve be crazy, because I didn't go to Congress and leave Vicki Simon, my mother, in her one-bedroom apartment, which has too many DVDs and CDs. I didn't leave her with her illness to go to be a part of a body. I went to lead. I went to lead. I went to Congress, not just to be a voice, but to write laws and to raise hell, but do it with the dignity that we deserve. And your question just made me think about my daddy. So I appreciate you. We're going to get to that North Star, but I want to thank you for your work. For every member of the audience, are there caregivers in the audience? I lead the caregiving task force with 2 other amazing women of Congress, and we're hearing these stories. We're legislating, we're fighting, but really, the ones who will win this fight will be the great people of this nation when we get this government right. I love this country too much to give up on it. Thank you all so much.